going to be a truck back there soon, right?
Yeah, right, right.
That's always the case that happens. We're still attaching to LinkedIn. It usually takes a minute.
And let's see, I got some notes here on the side here just in case.
And remember, by the way, you got this because you know all of this
I
stuff.
do.
You do this day to day. We
Uh-huh.
want it to sound super fluid. Remember, you're not trying. Okay, three, two, one. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to 10 at 10. We've been gone for a while. We've been on a hiatus. But it's been actually truly wonderful bumping into you guys at networking events and having people ask about the event. So here we are this morning. We hopefully we have an engaging podcast for you. Today it's about building a machine, not a job. This is our part one with our lovely guests, CFO Joel Smith from Clear Action Business Advisor. This is a company that advises small businesses so that they can keep moving forward. He's an accountant. He's a small business owner. He's a fractional CFO. Welcome, Joel. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Hopefully, I won't pepper you with too many crazy questions, but there are so many things happening in this world right now. And I think it's so important right now for business owners to actually do well, to actually succeed at things, because I don't think they have an option to not succeed right now. And of course, we're in the greatest country in the world. So we can do this, but with advice like yours. So if you could start us off, I know what it means. I know a few people out there. It's a phrase that's been floating, it's been building in momentum out there. Can you explain to us exactly what a fractional CFO is exactly?
Well, fractional meaning almost like a part-time or slice of, but of a CFO service, and a CFO means Chief Financial Officer. Every major company in the world has such a professional on staff, and their job is basically to be in charge of the company's finances. A CFO helps the company track its profit and cash flow. He analyzes the company's financial strengths and weaknesses and proposes corrective actions where necessary. So, really, the CFO's function is to make sure the company is financially viable and in
So
good.
wait a second. One of the things that I'm hearing, you said large companies. So is this a service that's open to smaller companies as well, mid-market level?
Possibly one of the problems for smaller companies, I'd say, is that a chief financial officer, if you were to hire such a person, it costs them minimum $250,000 a year when you throw in the salary and all the benefits. So if you've got a company that's maybe making $1 million gross, you can't afford a $250,000 a year employee.
Mm.
And this is where fractional professionals really come in and help smaller companies. Is as you're growing, you need various help in various areas, but you can't necessarily afford to hire somebody in each area.
Okay. And so our topic today, build a business, not a machine, not a job.
Yeah.
From a financial perspective, what does that mean to you, sir?
Well, one of the example I like to give is a washing machine. If you look at a washing machine, it's made up of multiple parts
Yeah.
that produces a result, which is to clean clothes. It has its drum, the soap dispenser, the drain pipe,
Yeah.
the water inlet valve. All these parts have got to work together to produce a result, which is to give you clean clothes. If it stops doing that, then there's obviously something wrong with one or more of its parts. And you need to figure out what part is not working or parts, fix it so it gets back to working. A job is very much the same thing. It's made up of multiple parts. You've got the admin, the marketing, the IT, accounting, all these parts, and what produces the goods or services. And they got to work together to produce the result, which is to make money. And if
Mm.
a business is not making money or as much as it should, one or more of those parts is not working. And you got to get in there, analyze which part is not working, what's not working, fix it, and get back to what it's supposed to be doing. So that's what I mean is build the machine.
Well, what's the biggest financial mistake that you encounter from growth-oriented businesses at that mid-market and upper level?
One of the things, and this is what led me to be a CFO outsourced to begin with. I started off in public accounting. I'm a CPA doing tax work, and I came across a client where we ended up doing all their accounting and tax work, and I wanted to replicate that. Where I had a lot of issues is a lot of smaller businesses don't pay attention to their accounting. Don't A lot of them don't even do it till after year end. They get into this mindset that, oh, you got to do the books in order to do the tax return, and they think of it as just an expense. And when you think of it that way, that's what it is. It's just an expense. You get no real value out of this,
Mhm.
but it should be a company's guiding light. It is what helps them understand, okay, I can afford this fractional CFO and this one, or how can I afford it? Utilize this to grow my company and understand, am I making the sales? Am I getting the most out of my market? It all comes down to the numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that I noticed that because I thought you'd say the biggest one is cash flow or something like that, but I love that you really put before that, you
Yeah,
really approach mindset about growth. It's like if
right.
they don't have that right mindset and that abundant mindset and say, hey, I need to bring other people in to grow the business, um, that's going to stall everything else out
Right.
under
And,
it.
but speaking
Yeah.
of that cash flow, that is the most critical thing. But that too comes down to the numbers. It's in the numbers. But a lot of business owners, they're good at what they do.
Mhm.
But if they don't understand the financial aspect of it, they might not know how to pay attention to the cash flow.
Mm.
And therefore, bringing in these other people can be a real challenge for them because they don't necessarily know how to measure that.
Let me ask you, at what stage should a business consider bringing in a CFO? At what stage would that make sense for?
That's a good question. One of the things they should definitely start doing is bringing in somebody to help out with the basic accounting right from the beginning
Mm.
and get into a point where they're looking at it and trying to. And if they don't understand it, they need someone to help them figure out. Now, obviously, I generally say people I'm looking for in the range 500,000 in gross and above. I'm willing to talk to people, less than that, but they should be moving towards that. Because what I'm offering is an ongoing service that's very regular, unlike my old job, I guess you can say, as a CPA, where people would come to me once a year, say, here's my financial pump out
Mm, I
tax
see.
return, right? So
Yeah.
this is more of an ongoing thing, but it's this. I think the mindset is it's an investment.
Mm.
It should increase your income and cash flow
So,
ultimately.
so I'm hearing planning though. It's like, because I love that you said you should bring them in at the beginning. So from the start, you buy the business, you launch the business somewhere in that. And so let's say someone is just a newbie right out of the gate.
Right.
What do you suggest? Like every 6 months, every 3 months might be
Well,
a good suggestion.
what I would say is right from the beginning, have somebody doing the accounting
Hmm.
regularly. Where you want to get a CFO is when, as you're growing, if you start running into issues that you're not fully understanding, or there's something in the finances that's not quite working, that's when you're going to need more active help. A lot of people think their CPA is going to do it. Having been that guy, I know that most CPAs are just too busy pumping out tax returns.
Mm.
And so their model's not based on sitting down with a business owner on a regular basis to go through their finances. But really, it should be their guide, a business owner's guide. They should look at it every month
Well,
to
Let me
measure it.
let me ask you something. Okay, so we're doing every month, and basically, I'm hearing that it should be more than just every month as well. Maybe a one every week, just to take a peek at what's going on. But best practices, once we're in our business, we're engaged, we're moving forward. w- It what's the best practice here? You said once a month, to look at it, review it. But when should I be seeing someone like you? Um, Should I be sitting down with you as I'm doing that on a
When
monthly?
you're growing and you're starting to realize that you can't do it all,
Mm,
and you need to start chopping some of this because this is how most small businesses owners start. They start
yeah.
up, they're the business.
Hmm.
I think where the problem is they don't really learn to stop that cycle of being it, and it all focuses around the business owner.
Yeah.
And in that case, it's not really a business; it's a self-administered job.
Mm,
And they end up becoming the bottleneck in their own business because
yeah.
they've got to do it all. And so, some point or another, they are going to need help to do some of the other things. Probably where it starts is when they start thinking, well, I could probably hire somebody to do some of the admin tasks. Okay, but how much is that going to cost you, and what's that going to do to your bottom line? Having an idea ahead of time how that's going to affect you is very important in making these decisions.
I'm hearing scalability here.
Yes,
Having someone like you in, having a fractional CFO in, as part of the team, uh,
right.
is about scalability as well, huh?
It's really about laying out a plan for growth.
Mm,
And in fact, when a business is growing, that could be some of its most dangerous time. If they grow too fast and they're not prepared to finance their growth, it could end up hurting them. So having a plan in place of, I want to hit these certain goalposts at these times and laying it out and then regularly, and I say once a month because usually the accounting is done each month. You get your actual numbers. If you lay out a plan, you can compare your actual numbers to your targets and just make the calculation. Am I on target or not?
mhm.
And if I'm not, where am I not? And what can I do about it to get back on target? So, yeah, it's about scalability. It's about laying out a financial plan rather than winging it.
What what can you tell me about cash flow? I want to roll back to that because my ears picked up, after getting your mindset right around growth, I'm hearing we need to be focused on cash flow management. Why is that the lifeblood of the business?
Cash flow is everything. Amazon, you can just look at it. They went for years without a profit. But if they didn't have cash, they would have died. Right there. You have to have cash. You can go years without a profit. You're not going to go a single day without cash.
Mm,
So cash flow is everything, and it makes everything run. If you want to grow, if you want to bring in certain professionals to help you, you got to have the cash to do it. So cash is king, ultimately. But you got to think about, well, how can you get cash? I mean, you can borrow, you could invest your own funds, or you can get it from operations. Borrowing or investing your own funds has their limitations. So if at some
mm.
point you got to build your business to fund its own operations and its own growth. So the business has to produce the cash to be able to do that.
Actually, can you give me a real life case study where the financial restructuring, where you came in and did your Joel thing? You and your team came in and did your Joel. What did that look like for that company? You don't have to use any names, but just to give
Two
us an
things
idea of
come
what
to
that
mind.
process looked like.
I got two that have come to mind. One is a restaurant owner. He actually did well. The pandemic actually helped him, but because they went through all these delivery services and stuff like that. But one of the things is in his first year he is struggling, and he
Mhm.
turned to credit cards to fund his growth.
Yeah.
One of the ways you can borrow, but it has its limitations. That can't go on forever. But more importantly, the second year, when he started to turn a profit, he's saying, well, if I'm making this profit, where's my money going? And it was going to pay off last year's credit card draw. So, today's borrowing is tomorrow's cash crunch. So, borrowing could be very important, but you got to manage it. You got to have an idea of how's this going to affect me? How am I going to service this debt and still make the profits I need?
I'm noticing that a lot of, I mean, I do it too, focusing on revenue growth, but neglecting profitability sometimes. How can a business owner shift that mindset from just sales? It's
And
like
that's going to kind of go back to
sales,
the cash
actually profit.
flow again. So I've got this concept called drivers. I got
Mhm.
5 drivers of revenue, 5 of profit, and 5 of cash flow. And I kind of work backwards. You got to figure out what's your cash flow goal. how much cash you want to see running into the business and ultimately into your pocket as the owner, and then run it backwards through the cash flow drivers, figure out what net profit you need to get you that cash flow. Then you figure out from that net profit, what gross sales do you need? Because yeah, you're right. If you just focus purely on gross sales, if you make $1 million, but it cost you $990,000 to produce it, you haven't really made anything. So you need to make a profit. But then again, things like debt and buying inventory or whatever can suck up those profits,
Yeah.
leaving you with no cash flow.
Yeah, yeah. I remember speaking to a friend who was in the tech space, because we're in California, folks, so we bump into those guys quite a bit, and he would always want to tell me about like his first year, like 10 million,
Yeah.
and eventually I was like, wait a second, revenue or profitability? And
Yeah,
he's
right.
like, revenue. It's
Yeah,
like,
right.
because
Exactly.
I mean the sales numbers look grand, right? But if
Right.
you're not, I guess, managing the expenses
Yeah. If it
behind
costs you too
everything.
much to produce it, then you're not really making anything.
Absolutely.
And
You
so
know,
you got to manage those things and the things that take the cash that don't show up on the profit and loss statement,
yeah,
such as buying and selling of inventory or equipment or things like that, taxes, all those things you got to take into consideration, because after the profit, you take care of those things, and that leaves you with your cash flow, which
yeah.
again is critical. You can go years showing the loss, but you need cash every day to take
You,
care of the day-to-day operations.
can I tell you, a lot of folks, it's like when they come to my side, because I consider myself a fractional CMO as well.
Hmm.
And when they come to my side, what happens often is that they just assume that they can jump into marketing. And I think they're surprised when I ask the operational questions about, do you have a CFO or a bookkeeper? Do you have, what does your structure look like? Because before we make that marketing plan, the machine needs to completely work. The machine's
Right,
not going to work on just one screw. We need all the parts to
right.
work in alignment with each other, or else marketing is almost a waste of money. You know,
It actually can be damaging if you go all out trying to build up business and you're not ready to service that business you build up, your reputation can be damaged.
yeah,
And so you need to be ready for it. So you need to have these things in place. And
yeah,
then you got to set your goal. How much more sales do we want? Then you can start putting together a marketing plan to hit those sales goals.
mm.
You know,
How should a business prepare financially then for this kind of expansion? So we're at that level. We've now hit that mid-market level. We want to push more. How do we prepare for that kind of expansion?
it's about laying down a financial plan, really. So you got to kind of make a realistic judgments about, if we're going to try to grow, how much is it going to cost us? How much upfront cost do we have to put into funding that growth? And are we going to have the cash reserves or the finance, backing to fund that?
Mm.
And then ultimately, obviously, then how's that going to eventually lead to increased profit and cash flow down the line? So yeah, you got to be able to be financially prepared for it.
I know nowadays, of course, there's a lot of tools to help you. There's a lot of systems, processes to help you. There's a lot of great platforms out there to help you create this financially efficient machine. Any one in particular, or two, or some things that you've seen that works
I'm
specifically?
not necessarily using. Get down to the basic, old fashioned. Take up the financials and lay out a plan,
Okay.
and then set your goals and targets. You discuss them. Are these reasonable, but achievable? Do they push the business forward? And then you come up with your plan and break it down month by month. We want to hit these benchmarks along the way, and
So
then
wait
you
a
get
second. No
your
QuickBooks?
what's that?
No QuickBooks?
I use QuickBooks quite a bit. Yeah. But I use that as just an accounting system. From there, we analyze the past data,
Oh, okay.
and then we lay out I talk to my clients about their goals, And then we lay out the targets and we break it down to those drivers I told you about, the five
Mm.
of revenue, the five of profit, and the five of cash flow. And say, what do we have to hit on each of these drivers to hit this cash flow number, to hit this net profit number, to hit this revenue number. And then, so once we break it down, we know the numbers we've got to hit. Then we can talk about, well, now how do we hit those?
Is what I know with all of we're building this machine, and we know right now one of the best tools to help you is definitely to embrace technology, because that's going to help with the efficiency as well. Automation and AI. I think that's the question I'm just going to ask to everyone right now. How is it going to affect modern financial management?
I
Um,
think it's
and
going
risk.
to make some of the more mundane tasks quicker and easier. One of the issues that I find with automation is there seems to be people out there who want to automate accounting, and you can only do so much of
So
that.
much.
This
I
is where
know.
the problem is. It's
That was a challenge I had this morning myself. I'm like, wait, I don't have an idea of how to do this.
the software doesn't think. That's the problem. And when you get right down to it, accounting is recording transactions, and transactions really are the interaction of human beings.
Mhm.
And human beings are very individual. They find unique ways of doing things, and it's pretty hard to train the software to understand everything people find a way to do and
Yeah,
understand. Okay, that what really happened here? How should this be reflected in the books?
yeah,
So automation is not ready to take the accountant's job yet.
yeah.
You
I
still
mean,
need somebody thinking behind it. Okay, what is this transaction? How should this be reflected?
is there anything with all of the things that we've discussed today and the things that you shared, is there, if you were to say to a business owner, okay, I want you to at least tackle this one thing today, maybe make it part of your schedule every day, what would that be besides hiring a Joel?
I mean, honestly, make get their books in order, and somebody you talk to about it if you don't understand the reports, um, and start making it a point to look at these things. Um, it really is the lifeblood of your business. It tells you that your business, the story is in there.
Mm,
Business owners come across challenges all the time that they might not understand, and the answer is in there, or the reasons they're having the challenges are in there.
mm.
But you got to start out by valuing this and understanding how it's an important tool in the running of your business.
Can you offer me one more piece of financial wisdom based on your experience that you wish every entrepreneur understood?
Well, being from previously in the tax world,
I love that you giggled, by the way.
well, I mean, this is one of them. Being from previous from the tax world, don't make tax avoidance the focus of your business.
Mm,
A lot of small businesses they become almost maniacal about that, but really avoiding taxes means not making any money. And ultimately, you're in business to make money, and your goal should be to maximize your profits, which means your taxes will go up. Now, I'm all for proper tax planning and avoiding taxes as much as prudently possible, but when it's the sole focus of your business and it takes over how you run things, it has the effect of hurting your business.
yeah, yeah.
So
How
that's what I'd say is make profit and cash flow your focus, not tax avoidance.
make us? I love that. That's going to be my takeaway today. So how can the audience get in touch? Well, wait a second. I almost forgot to share with everyone. I was about to ask, how can people stay in touch with you? But you and I are going to be doing a panel of fractionals, basically the machine. That's on May, what? May
Third, I believe is.
May 3rd of this year, in San Francisco, live. Please reach out. I'll drop some information, some details below. Um, I would love to see you there so that we can share if you want to hear more from Joel so that he can dive a bit deeper on this topic. Because I feel that numbers are the things that people avoid like a bandit. We're taught to be scared of numbers, sadly, since grade school.
Yes.
Numbers are bad. You can't do numbers, blah, 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 blah. I remember when I used to teach at a design school here in San Francisco, it just got I got so tired of hearing the kids saying that. One day I'm teaching the designers and I stopped them and said, we're artists. We don't know math because, that's the thing that's been taught to them. And
Right.
then we become adults and business owners who say the same thing. And I had to point out to them that they're clothing engineers. If they can have a conversation about a 16th of an inch and how that affects the human body, I'm like, that's basic math right there that you just did, but you're scared to do your books.
Yeah, and one of the things about it is when you get right down to it, business is about numbers. The
Yeah.
simple one is gross sales less expenses equals net profit. So you got to know at least that basic formula. It tends to get more complicated, but it comes down to the numbers. So if you truly want to build a business, you're gonna have to find a way to tackle the numbers. Either have, if you do it yourself, or if it's not your forte, have somebody such as a financial officer to help you, you know, go through it and understand it and utilize it.
Thank you, Joel. Thanks for being on the show. I'll drop in the link how you can get in touch with Joel. And if you're ready for marketing at any time, Power Marketing is powermarketingstuff.com. You can reach out to
Hold
me.
on, I lost my speaker for a sec there.
Now we can still hear you though. My continued mission doing this show is to basically introduce you to business owners and experts like Joel, who I consider my tens. And of course, if I can offer you some marketing tips along the way as well. We're back with 10 at 10. We air every Thursday at 10 a.m. live on LinkedIn, sharing on YouTube as well. Please like us, please comment. We'd love to hear it. Share this with a friend. And thank you so much, viewers. Stay strong, keep moving forward. Uh, I have a quote for you to close out today. Just try new things. Don't be afraid. Step out of your comfort zone and soar. All right. And that's by Michelle Obama. So thank you so much, Joel, for being on. And I
Thank
know I'm going
you.
to catch you guys on the replay. Again, thank you for the support. Take care and have a great day. Take care, everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye.